The time is 6:15. Here is the news, edited by Dilini Gunwardana, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. Public Entertainment Classification Board is to be formed in lieu of Public Performance Board. A new American Innovation Hub is inaugurated in Batticaloa. The CORP committee decides to summon Sri Lanka cricket for 3 days for a continuous probe. The examination department says that the results of the Grade 5 Scholarship Examination 2023 will be released next week. Foreign news, Israeli forces enter Gaza's main hospital. Sports news, cricket. ICC World Cup, the semi-final match between India and New Zealand is currently underway. Local news in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe has articulated plans to institute a public entertainment diversification board in lieu of the Public Performance Board. Addressing the Presidential Film Awards 2023 held at the Nilum Pokona Theatre in Colombo yesterday, he underscored the importance of eliminating the term censorship from artistic creations. The President highlighted the current challenge faced by artists as artists' creations fall under various criminal laws. To address this issue, he proposed a program wherein films and television productions would be submitted to the classification board before enforcement. President Ranil Wickremesinghe expressed the government's expectations to implement these measures starting next year. The head of state also underscored the imperative need for Sri Lankan cinema to attain global acclaim. U.S. Ambassador to Sri Lanka Julie Chung inaugurated a new American Innovation Hub in Batticaloa, the fifth American space in Sri Lanka. A joint initiative between the U.S. Embassy and Dream Space Academy, the iHub in Batticaloa aims to empower the youth of the Eastern Province, foster knowledge exchange and promote people-to-people ties between the United States and Sri Lanka. In addition to the American iHub in Batticaloa, the U.S. Embassy has interactive American space in Colombo, Kandy, Jaffna and Mathura. The Batticaloa iHub is designed to be a hub of intellectual engagement, providing access to the wide range of free-of-charge resources, including books, digital materials, multimedia content, and online databases. It serves as a space for students, researchers, and enthusiasts can gather to expand their horizons, engage in discussions, and collaborate on projects that contribute to educational and social development. The iHub also hosts a variety of free programs, workshops, and events focused on areas such as English language learning, entrepreneurship, STEM education, and American literature and history. These activities not only enhance participants' skills but also foster a deep appreciation for the diversity of thought and ideas. The CORP committee has decided to summon Sri Lanka cricket for 3 days for a continuous probe. The committee met yesterday and inquired on audit report on the T20 cricket tournament held last year. The significance of a proper procedure to maintain the affairs of Sri Lanka cricket was emphasized. The committee said that the legal background that prevailed in 2016 should be reviewed, since the powers of the Auditor General Department were removed in 2020 with a Gazette notification. The committee also said that the monitoring of the Ministry of Sports in this regard is insufficient. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news. Today was the second day of the Parliament debate on the Budget 2024. MP S.B. Disanayake said that this budget has a number of positive aspects, such as creating an empowered economy, modernization of agriculture, expansion of the education system, and digitalization of the economy. MP Ranjit Bandar said that the mass protest that took place in the country had a negative impact on the national economy. MP J.C. Alawathuwala appreciated increasing the sum of the allowance and granting an allowance of 10,000 rupees to government servants. However, the budget does not make any reference to the employees of the private sector. Also, the government should attend to the public suffering due to the increased electricity tariff, and the MP further added. Meanwhile, MP Ranjit Premalal said that the mass protest that brought the country to a standstill in 2021 had a huge negative impact on the country. He also added that the breakdown of the economy was the result of lack of proper planning. MP Champika Ranawaka said that the proposed appropriation bill is not practical, further burdening citizens. A 6-year-old child has reportedly died while 5 others were injured after a wall of a school in Vellampetya collapsed on a group of students. Accordingly, 5 students were rushed to the Colombo National Hospital, while another was admitted to the Lady Ridgeway Hospital in Colombo. Hospital sources confirmed that one of the 5 students receiving treatment at the National Hospital is in critical condition, and that the student admitted to the Lady Ridgeway Hospital has not sustained serious injuries. That ends local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
The chairman of the National Apprentice and Industrial Training Authority of Sri Lanka, Ruchika Amarasekara, says that all the courses offered by the institute have been updated in order to cater to the needs of the international employment market. These vocational training courses are offered in catering to school leavers who have failed O-level examination. Amarasekara further said that those students who complete these courses will be able to gain well-paid employment abroad. He further remarked that specialized diploma courses in the subject's fields will be recognized in Australia. The Sri Lankans residing abroad can also obtain the vocational certificate via online mode. That came to you on Main News Story.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatma.
Moving on to Watchlight, the examination department said that the results of the Grade 5 Scholarship Examination 2023 will be released next week. The evaluation process is currently in its final stage. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to world news, let's take a look at the headlines. Israeli forces enter Gaza's main hospital. Researchers find artificial intelligence capable of predicting hurricane landfall sooner. Brazil is gripped with an unbearable heat wave. World news in detail. Israeli forces have entered Gaza's largest hospital in what the military says is a targeted operation. A journalist inside the hospital told the BBC that soldiers are going room to room and questioning people, but there is currently no shooting taking place. Commando soldiers had entered the main emergency department, with tanks also in the hospital area. Israel accuses Hamas for running a command center in tunnels under the hospital, while Hamas denies the allegations and says the raid on the hospital is a war crime and hundreds of civilians have been sheltering there alongside patients. Researchers say artificial intelligence could save lives by warning where a hurricane will hit land much sooner than traditional forecasting systems. A new AI tool from Google DeepMind predicted where September's hurricane Lee would make landfall in Canada 3 days ahead of existing methods. Weather forecasts have become much more accurate over the decades. But according to the scientists, AI's speed and ability to analyze past events to make predictions make it a game changer. Graphcast produces its forecast in less than a minute using a fraction of the computing power of traditional forecasting methods. Red alerts have been issued for almost 3,000 towns and cities across Brazil, which have been experiencing an unprecedented heat wave. Records have been broken in areas including the city Rio de Janeiro, where temperatures fell as high as 52.5 Celsius. More than 100 million people have been affected by the heat, which is expected to last until at least Friday. Officials have attributed it to the El Nino phenomenon and climate change. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Israeli forces enter Gaza's main hospital. Researchers find artificial intelligence capable of predicting hurricane landfall sooner. Brazil is gripped by an unbearable heat wave. That ends world news.
Development news.
Minister of Transport, Highways and Mass Media, Dr. Bandula Gunawadana, said in a parliament today that the country can establish an effective and efficient railway service by making the railway department an authority. A cabinet paper has been submitted to make the department an authority and establish a decentralized administration instead of an individual-centric administration, e-ticketing system, GPS. That came to you on Development News.
Moving on with sports news.
The first semi-final match of the ICC Cricket World Cup is currently underway between India and New Zealand at the Wankhede Stadium in Mumbai. India won the toss and chose to bat first. Virat Kohli scored 117 runs and Shreyas Iyer also scored 105 runs. In the end of 50 overs, India scored 397 runs for 4 wickets. That ends sports news.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wagena dagapu veena habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
HNB General Insurance clinched the bronze award in the national level service sector extra large category at the CNCI Achiever Awards 2023, underscoring the company's commitment to excellence and innovation within the insurance domain. Moreover, HNB General Insurance was the only insurance service provided to be recognized at this award ceremony. That came to you on Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekakthiyana youth ekata life eke change ekata niyameta set wenna as wagena dagapu veena habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Moving on to economic news, Minister Mahinda Amaravira decides that every agrarian service centre should establish a mechanical unit and the services of the multi-purpose tractors required for the land preparation should be provided at a concessional price in order to decrease the expenses incurred in the preparation of land for cultivation. The minister advised to make arrangements to provide those multi-purpose tractors to every agricultural service centre. That ends economic news.
Weather report.
Showers or thunder showers look at times in the northern, north central and northwestern provinces. Fairly heavy showers above 50 mm likely at some places in the northern province. Showers or thunder showers look at several places in the eastern province and over central provinces and in the Hambantota district. Several spells of showers may occur in the western and sub-Ragamel provinces and in the Gol and Matra districts. That ends with the report. To wrap up the evening news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Public Entertainment Classification Board is to be formed in lieu of Public Performance Board. A new American Innovation Hub is inaugurated in Batticaloa. The COPE committee decides to summon Sri Lanka cricket for 3 days for a continuous probe. The examination department says that the results of the Grade 5 Scholarship Examination 2023 will be released next week. Foreign news: Israeli forces enter Gaza's main hospital. Sports news: Cricket, ICC World Cup. The semi-final match between India and New Zealand is currently underway. With that, we wrap up the evening news on Radio Sri Lanka. Back to my good friend and yours, Romesh Peris.
Thank you, Victor. And that was Victor Raj with the main news bulletin. And may I take this opportunity to wish Victor a pleasant evening and a safe journey back home. You're tuned to Radio Sri Lanka. The time is just moving on to 31 minutes past 6 o'clock. And we're going to have a musical miscellany from here onwards. And just a reminder, looking at the program schedule ahead, coming up at 8:45 is the final news bulletin of the day, followed by Family Choice at 9 o'clock, and you can be part of the program by getting in touch with us on our hotline 2694316, and that's the number to call to get your requests and dedications read out on air. You're tuned to Radio Sri Lanka.
Radio wherever you are. Radio Sri Lanka. Radio Sri Lanka, the station for the nation.
In order for you to invoke blessings upon your family and the nation at large, with the sponsoring of the delivery of the sermon by the Mahasangha on the airwaves of National Radio, get in touch with us to be a part of this meritorious deed by calling us on 0112 696 271 on weekdays between 9 and 3. The meritorious contribution for the Dharma exceeds all other meritorious deeds. Be a part of this meritorious contribution.
You're tuned to Radio Sri Lanka, and just a reminder that I'll be bringing you from time to time cricketing updates, and that is the ICC Cricket World Cup, the first semi-final between New Zealand and India, and that is a day-night match at Wankhede Stadium. And just to keep you up to date, India in their 50 overs made 397 for the loss of 4 wickets, and sterling batting there by Virat Kohli 117, and Rohit Sharma 47, Shreyas Iyer 105, and KL Rahul not out 39, and that's a considerable score to get at. However, New Zealand have started their proceedings, and after 2.3 overs, they are 14 for no loss. Here's Dire Straits to get the show off the ground. It's a beautiful song called Ticket to Heaven.